You ever see this? A big company makes a huge deal about hiring all this amazing talent, spending a ton of money, and then just a few years later, bam, massive layoffs. And then the whole thing just starts all over again. It's this super frustrating, really expensive cycle that just feels broken. So let's get into it. So, the big question is why? Why do some of the biggest, most successful companies in the world get stuck in this trap? Well, it turns out the answer has to do with a huge fundamental misunderstanding of what work actually is today. Yeah, some people call it the binge and purge cycle, and it's incredibly destructive. And look, it's not just about the obvious human cost, which is terrible. It's also just a really, really bad way to run a business. You're mismanaging what should be your most valuable asset, your people. And don't for a second think this is just a problem for, struggling little startups. No way. We're talking about some of the most respected, supposedly well-managed companies on Earth. I mean, General Electric, PepsiCo, MetLife, they've all been stuck on this same crazy merry-go-round. So what is actually going on? Okay, so here's the core of it. The whole problem comes down to this one big mistake. We are trying to manage today's knowledge workers with a rulebook from the 1950s. We're basically running our offices like they're old school factories, but the thing we're making has totally changed. This is the key idea, right here. We have to completely reframe how we think about our companies. They're not making things anymore. They're making decisions. That's why we should call them decision factories. The output isn't a car, it's a decision. The raw materials aren't steel, they're data. And the assembly line? Well, that's all those meetings we sit at. And this comparison just shows you how big the mismatch is. A product factory, right? It's all about a steady, predictable pace. You're just churning out the same thing again and again. But a decision factory? It runs on one-of-a-kind projects. And that means the work is all about intense peaks of activity, followed by much quieter valleys. It's a completely different rhythm. And you can actually see this shift in the numbers. If you look at the Dow Jones 30 companies, the cost of actually making stuff, the blue-collar work, what they call cost of goods sold, that's gone way down as a piece of the pie. But the cost of making decisions, the white-collar work, the SG&A line item, that has just skyrocketed. We're talking about a jump of more than 50%. Just let that sink in for a second. The thinking part of the business has actually become the biggest expense for most major companies today. This changes everything, and it means that getting this whole decision factory idea right is absolutely crucial. So here's where it all goes wrong. We organize this project-based work into these rigid 9-to-5 jobs. Take a VP of marketing. Their job description probably lists a bunch of daily tasks, but their real work, it comes in waves. One month, it's an insane product launch, all hands on deck. The next, maybe a competitor does something crazy. And then things get quiet. When you try to cram that reality into a fixed job structure, you just create a ton of inefficiency and wasted time. Okay, so if organizing around these fixed jobs is the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. Organize around the work. Organize around the projects. And this isn't just some crazy new theory. Some of the most successful industries out there have been doing this for 100 years. Just think about it for a second. A big consulting firm like McKinsey, they don't have permanent teams sitting around. They pull together a team of experts for a specific project. And when that project is over, poof, the team disappears. And those people flow to the next big thing. And Hollywood? It's the exact same model. A director, a cinematographer, a sound editor, they all come together for one movie, and then they all go their separate ways. It's all about the project, not the permanent job. Okay, I hear you. That works for consulting firms in Hollywood, but can a huge, old-school company actually pull this off? The answer is a big yes, and the proof is in this amazing story from Procter & Gamble and what they called their flow-to-the-work model. So back in 2005, P&G had this gargantuan task on its hands. They had just bought Gillette for $57 billion, and now they had to merge everything. We're talking finance, IT, logistics, all the messy back office stuff. For pretty much any other company, this would have been an absolute nightmare that dragged on for years. But P&G had a secret weapon. See, they'd already been building this flow-to-the-work system, and that meant they could take their best people from all over the company and point them directly at this one massive project, instead of leaving them stuck in their normal jobs. And the result? It was incredible. They finished the whole integration in just 15 months. That is less than half the time it should have taken. And the money? Oh, the money was just as mind-blowing. Because they moved so fast, P&G's saved an estimated $2 billion with a B. That is the power of organizing this way. This isn't some tiny little HR policy change. It's a fundamental shift in how you organize work, and it delivers huge, real results. But look, being more efficient is only half the story. The next big step is about taking the knowledge that's locked inside your best people's heads and turning it into a system that everyone can use. It's about scaling expertise. So, think about how knowledge develops. It happens in 3 stages. At first, something is a mystery. You have no idea how to do it, you're just trying to figure it out. Then, with practice, it becomes a heuristic. That's like an expert's gut feeling or their personal rule of thumb. But the holy grail, the final stage, is the algorithm, a step-by-step repeatable formula that anyone can use to get the same great result. The perfect example? The operating manual at McDonald's. But here's the problem. In a traditional company, with its fixed jobs, what incentive does an expert have to share their secret sauce? Why would they turn their personal know-how, their heuristic, into a simple recipe anyone can follow? I mean, if they do that, they might just make their own job redundant. The company could replace them with someone cheaper. So naturally, the knowledge stays locked away. And let's go back to P&G again. For years, their amazing ability to build brands was a total heuristic. It was this magic that people learned only by working there for a long, long time. But P&G realized that wasn't sustainable. So they created something called the brand building framework. They deliberately turned all that expert knowledge into a teachable system, an algorithm that they could give to everyone in the company. And if you look around, this idea is everywhere now. It's literally the engine behind things like AI making loan decisions or machines that can read x-rays better than a human doctor. We're getting really good at taking what used to require an expert and turning it into a process that can scale. So I want to leave you with this quote from Roger Martin, who came up with these ideas. He says, "A company with 100% flat jobs is almost certainly obsolete. The old way of doing things, these fixed permanent jobs, it's just not built for the way work works anymore. The companies that are going to win are the ones that are fluid, that are based on projects, and that are obsessed with turning their best ideas into systems everyone can use." So the final question to you is, how much of your company is still stuck in the past, still running like an old-fashioned factory?